Garage fam, we are back for another edition of Garage Talk. Me, Garage Guy, joined with Dale Tanhardt, and today's guest on Garage Talk. The next driver stepping into the arena is going to be Josh Berry, driver of the number 8 Junior Motorsports Xfinity Camaro. Man himself in the playoffs last year was a hell of a ride last year. We got to meet Josh in Las Vegas. Won a lot of money on Josh. Dale told the world that Josh was going to win. Josh knew in his heart and mind he was going to win, and he did. So that was kind of the big triumph of last year for us here at Garage Guys. But Josh, thanks so much for being on the show. And I see you're looking really nice today. You've got your Tennessee Volunteers hat on. Feeling good.
Yeah.
They went 11-2. You should feel proud about that, even though they didn't make it to the Natty, but that's okay. Chase Elliott should have a fun time with that one this year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you guys for having me. No, Vegas. I remember Vegas well. That was exciting. Exciting. I know it was exciting for you guys, I guess, but that was a pretty cool moment for me too. I thought that was funny, and it was a bold pick, man. We didn't have a lot of speed in practice and qualifying, but when it come down to count, we were there.
Well, it's funny because the year before, when you were in the one car, part-time or whatever, you had won Vegas, right? And you had been good at the mile and a half, and then you came back, and I bet you at Charlotte to win that race too. And you were kind of a big underdog that weekend as well. So I kind of went at this mindset of Josh Berry on the mile and a halves. For some reason, it's always going to be a little undervalued. So I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride it, and it worked out, and it was really cool. The way you won that race was crazy. Like, did you think that when you hit the wall with a handful of laps to go that you were killed or you're gonna lose a tire? Like, what was your mindset when that big deal happened with just 30 to go? I think.
Yeah, it was. We were just racing like crazy on the restart. Obviously, a lot on the line there for all of us. It was in that moment, and I kind of barely got looking to the outside of AJ, and we kind of ran out of room. Really, it was in my eyes, it was really more my fault than anything. I probably was being a little overzealous there with the amount of space I had, and I got the wall pretty good, and I remember like each corner after that, you're just, the first corner after you hit the wall, you're like, oh, this is going to be it. And then, it makes it through that corner. And then you go to the next one, you go to the next one, and you start going down like, all right, maybe it's going to be all right. And, but then, so we kind of shook that off and focused in there. And then when we got back down to like under 10 to go, I'm like, oh man, it's something rubbing, you start thinking about it. But, like I said, after the race, there was a lot on the line, and you just got to keep your foot in it.
Yeah, man.
Love that. You did a great job of it.
Yeah, how many times do you think that you might psych yourself out in the car? Like, how like you always like you get in, like you're in a good situation, you're like, okay, just think good thoughts, trust the process. Like, have you like had like struggles like psyching yourself out, like thinking like something's going wrong when it's actually not, because you're just like in such a great spot?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we as drivers work on all the time, right? I think in any kind of professional sports, you see that the mental aspect of it, and building that up. And like I said, staying positive and trying not to overthink the situation, I think it's a huge part of being a race car driver. It's so easy to get caught up in the emotions of just the race itself, how your car's driving, bad pit stop, maybe, altercation on the track. Anything like that can easily kind of deteriorate your race if you're not, not staying focused. So it's definitely something you try to think of, like Vegas, hitting the wall like that. Obviously, I mean, yeah, for sure. There's no way you're not going to think about losing a tire or something the next couple of laps, because you're like, man, I just threw this away, but you just kind of have to just try to reset and think on, get your mind back right, and try to finish the job at hand, which was the last 25-30 laps of that race.
So you had an awesome season, as we've kind of reiterated. But I want to talk about your off season. What has been going on for Josh Berry in the off season, getting ready for 2023? I see you've got the Volunteers hat. We're big football guys. I went to an SEC school, so it wasn't Tennessee, but I did respect how good Tennessee was this year. Hate how it ended, but football, other sports you've been watching, or what activities you've been up to just to get your mind off of racing, I guess.
Yeah, so really from on, I spent few weeks after Phoenix, racing a little bit, racing our late model car. Went to Florence and got to go along with Florence with Dale Jr. there and be a part of that effort. And then I raced the next weekend at Southern National. It's a big 50,000 to win late model stock race. I was able to win that right after Thanksgiving, and then went and did the Snowball Derby, which was fun experience. That was, I've only done that race. That was my second time doing it. And then, really after that, that was it for the racing. So try to, December for us, I think, is a little bit laid back, still training and whatnot, a decent amount during December, but a little bit of time off there, time to regroup a little bit, spend some time with the family, obviously with the holidays. And then, once January rolls around, it's full steam ahead. At this point we're training, minimum 5 days a week, probably doing some karting, doing different stuff like that, trying to get back in the groove before the season starts.
Love
The
that.
racing don't stop.
To get your mind off racing, you do more racing.
With racing,
right?
Yeah, man, it's hard. I mean, the reality of it is it's just so competitive that, everybody's constantly, trying to get better. And for me, I mean, I've raced my whole life, right? I started when I was 8 years old. Even when I was a kid, I had a conversation in another interview a couple days ago about this. When I was 8, 10, 12 years old, I didn't really play sports or do anything. Like when I went to school, and I would come home from school and work on my go-kart or work on my legend car or whatever I was racing at that moment. Obviously, my dad was a big part of that and getting me going and helping that. But, I was always involved in that. And, really, even when I moved to North Carolina and started racing for Dale, that kind of continued on, being really hands-on in our program with the late model car. So, I don't really, somebody asked me that, like, do you have a whole lot of hobbies? I'm like, not really, race and do different stuff, obviously watch sports and everything like that. So it's, I wish I could say, oh man, I'm a hell of a golfer, but I'm not really that athletic at all.
I can resonate with that.
About putt-putt golf, you good at putt-putt golf?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, decent, I can hold my own, I guess, on that. I don't think
I'll challenge you.
Yeah.
I'll challenge you to some putt-putt in Daytona. Yeah,
there you
we'll
go.
do it. We'll have a good time. I love that. But no, it's good stuff, man. And I mean, it kind of leads me into something that I wanted to talk with you about, like really kind of, taking the time to study your career. You kind of popped onto the scene, and it seemed like for the mainstream, NASCAR fans and stuff, you'd come out of running with Junior, doing a lot of just, late model stuff, and then coming into the Xfinity series like on a whim. And like for us, I was like, okay, this guy right here, this is grassroots. Like this is like the come up story of like the century. Where were you at like before you met Junior? Like, what your age was, and how old are you again?
32.
32. So this happened a little bit later than for what most people maybe in today's time would start their career, except for like, if you go back to the Winston series, it's pretty normal. But, looking at this now is like, what were some of the things that like you had to push through before you met Junior? Like where were you at with it? Because it seems like you have that ethic where you just want to race all the time. So I'm sure that's been the blueprint for everything that you've got to this moment.
Yeah. So, kind of going way back, like I said, I started for my 8th birthday, I got a go-kart, and me and my dad, my family, we were in Middle Tennessee, kind of started dinking around with that. We don't, I guess, we didn't come from, a very wealthy family. We had to work really hard to create the opportunities and just to race at all. Right. Like that was all we did as a family, from when I was 8, like I said, we never went on vacations or anything anymore, right? Like my dad was like, look, if we're going to race, we're going to race, but, we're not going to go on vacations. We're not going to do this. This is what, the means that to make it happen, how we're going to do it. And like I said, we did that for a while. I raced, go-karts for a couple of years. Then we got a little 4-cylinder car. I raced that at the National Fairgrounds, and then got a legend car, raced that. We had some great people that stepped in and helped kind of the financial side of it thing to help us going, but each one of those I spent years in, right? Like my trajectory has always been slow, I guess, compared to some what you see now. And but that was just what we could afford, right? And I raced legend cars, I think, for probably 3 or 4 years. And this is probably, I'm sure you guys are aware of this story, but around that time, sim racing was really kind of starting to, it was in the infancy stage of really kind of taking off. And I got involved in that a lot. I was probably 16, 17 years old. And maybe at that point, probably maybe a little bit younger than that when I first really started. But when I started getting more into it and competitive, was at that point. And then iRacing came around, and all that time, somewhere in there, right? Like I met Dale through his, obviously that's something he's very passionate about is sim racing. And I met him in there and struck up a friendship with him. And that's really what led to all this, years and years later, I guess. We got to know each other a little bit. He asked what I raced, what I did, got to know me a little bit, and kind of, just the timing of it worked out for me that he's like, hey, why don't you come test my late model car? And I'm like, what? Right. Like, this is, I would guess we were probably on like instant messenger, right? Or something like that.
you're
I
like
don't
on
even know if I had his
AOL.
phone number at that point or nothing, right? Like he's
That's
like, yeah.
crazy.
And I'm like, is this real? And so yeah, I come over and met with them and Kelly and everybody at Junior Motorsports, and we went to Motor Mile Speedway in Virginia and tested. The test went really well. That was my first time ever in a stock car, and it went well enough that I got an opportunity to race a couple times, and those went pretty well. Like I said, it was first race in a stock car, and everything went okay. And at this time, that's where the bank teller story comes into it, right? Because at the time, I'm actually like in high school, I actually got like a little part-time job as a bank teller. So I quit that job and moved to North Carolina and went to work at Junior Motorsports in 2010. And I was, this is, like I said, this is 2010. So this is a while back, right? Like,
It
and I
don't
was,
feel like it. I graduated high school in 2010, so it makes me feel like I'm
well, I
just
was
like
2009, so I'm just slightly ahead of you. But yeah. So I mean, I started literally I worked at Junior Motorsports, and I washed parts. I power washed the cars after the races. I drove the pit practice car and washed the wheels and glued the lug nuts for the pit crew to come in and practice in the evenings. Started really at the bottom and then worked on the late model car and raced it on the weekend. So it was how we get here, right? That's just kind of the first half of it, right? I guess.
Yeah.
And if I'm kind of can tend to be long-winded, so if y'all need to stop.
No, you're fine. No, it's the main thing is I just personally I love the come up stories. Like that's the beauty in all of it is just like what it takes to be successful. Like everything you're saying here, like I actually learned today. So like you were sim racing, like did you kind of stop doing any type of like legend racing or whatever when you were big in the sim spot?
No, but I guess, I think I took to it. I feel like I took to it a lot because, really it was a cheap way to race, right? Like I guess I kind of, at that point when we're, I'm, like I said, 18, let's say I'm 18 years old and graduating high school, trying to decide, like, am I going to go to college? Like, I'm working at a bank. Do I want to do that? Like, what do I want? And I remember there was a lot of and we were kind of tapped out financially, really towards the end of just what we could do racing wise. Right. So I think, over the course of those years, I kind of just took to the sim racing side and enjoyed it. And that was kind of where I guess started that hobby. It was kind of a way to race, and it's still a way to race, right? Like and it's relatively inexpensive compared to what it is to build and run your own race car or race
This
team.
man right here knows.
Yeah. I saw his I saw the couple of the videos already.
Yeah.
So you might gotta back off on the wrecking the people. You might be in the penalty box.
Yes.
He's not on your side.
I have no
I don't
talent.
think,
I have no talent. So like I have to just be a menace at that point, you know.
It takes time. You'll get better.
Oh man, it
You'll
takes
get
so
better.
much time. That's what's so hard about it.
Yeah.
We talked about sim racing with Anthony Alfredo, who's obviously big in that field too. And the respect I have for you guys, like not even as like a race car driver, but as a sim, as a pro in iRacing, it is so freaking difficult, man. I just can't imagine having even like a 5,500 I rating. You know, like I don't even know what your I rating. What is your I rating, by the way?
Gosh, it's somewhere around that. I think
Which
I can't remember. I can't remember the exact number, but it's somewhere around that. But I remember, I mean, gosh, I think it topped out. I got close to now during COVID, I got pretty good again. See, really when I started, sim racing, I was a part of what the original, what is now the Coca-Cola series, right? I was a part of the original, the first rendition of that, 10 or 12 years ago. And, I remember it paid like 10,000 to be the champion. And we were like, hell yeah, this is awesome,
yeah,
and,
That's a
now
lot of
it's,
ramen noodles, bro.
yeah, now it's a lot. Now it's a lot more than that. But yeah, so I did that. It was a lot of fun, and just kind of got to the point where it's like, well, I mean, obviously I'm starting to race more and more. I'm racing the late model car all the time, and it's just hard to balance the time. It takes a lot of time to be really good. And you got to be able to value that with your your life and your job and your family and all that stuff. So I slowed down, and it's more of a hobby now. Like I was saying, during COVID, when we were all just sitting here doing nothing, I got pretty good again. Had a couple of good races in there, but it's still fun to use often. And like I said, as for even on a more serious note, it's something that we use a lot as a training tool. Even with my driver coaching and the program that I'm part of, we use iRacing all the time, so it's very useful.
yeah. When that was when I bought my rig, which you can call it a rig, but like I literally just take this wheel on and off all the time. But yeah,
Yep.
when COVID happened is when I got into it, and I've been very aware of most of what's happening in the motorsports world throughout most of my life, but iRacing was one of the things I was not aware of how amazing it is. I mean, I feel like we take it for granted how much of as you said, not just a hobby and a fun thing to do for people like me, but a tool for teams to literally simulate as close as possible to what you'll see like with track conditions. And it's just insane. Like we really take it for granted. I feel like me and all the people that enjoy it, how amazing of a product it is. I mean, it blows my mind thinking about it.
Yeah, no, it definitely, no, it definitely is. And, it's like, even to speak to what Dale can say that he saw in me years ago. I think that, he raced with me, and he would, obviously this is a story that he can tell in his own words better than me. But, I know that I've heard him say that he feels like he picked up on things that I did on there that he felt like would translate me being into being a good real race car driver. So, it's it's definitely applicable, man. It's grown a ton. It's really cool to see how much it's taken off, and I think the sky's the limit for that stuff for sure.
Yeah. How many times
Yeah.
did you beat him? Does he ever
Oh,
did you ever ruffle his feathers? Did you ever make him a little perturbed?
no, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure I have somewhere along the way, but he was pretty good in his day too. He was pretty hardcore into that stuff, man. It's just a crazy story when I think about it and tell it over and over again. I feel like it's crazy that everything, a lot of even, a lot of the opportunities I've got has just really kind of been about timing. And sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time. And that
Amen.
was another example of that.
Well,
What I
I'm
want
not a big iRacer at all, but I support Dale. But I will say this: I'm working on singing the national anthem for Monday Night Racing coming up soon. Would you vouch for that?
Yeah, go ahead for
All
sure.
right, all right. So that's one. We've got one, Dale. So
we've got
we're
one
good.
supporter.
Dale's gonna
Oh,
win that
well,
race too.
I'll be supporter number two. But yeah, on this, I feel like this is all connected. It seems like everything connects with like Dale Jr., right? Like whether it's sim racing, whether it's getting your big shot outside of racing. What is the relationship like with Dale Jr.? Like, obviously, I've seen everybody has seen the kind of cool stuff he gets involved in. And he used to have all the little fun, like short track races outside of his house. And seems like he was and might still be a big party guy. I've seen him shotgun a beer. I've seen you drink a few Bud Lights at Victory Lane. Like, does you guys' relationship go outside into like that kind of fun setting, or is it just strictly business?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, we definitely are, good friends and talk pretty often, right, about all kinds of things. I think that we've both kind of, we've, like I said, we've been doing this together for, upwards of 10 or 12 years, right? So it's like our relationship has definitely evolved a lot. Now we both have kids, and now it's more like, when we talk, it's something about the kids or
Yeah.
whatever. And, it's funny. We definitely have had our times where we've drank some beer together, but, I guess maybe we've kept it a little, business like, I don't know. He called me. Actually, I talked to him this morning, and he called me. He was telling me about the whole Cars Tour deal that he's a part of and doing that. So that's, he's kind of, that's something that's been going on for a while in the background, that he's kind of poking me and asking me little bits and pieces about it, obviously, because I was, still pretty involved in that stuff. So no, it's been fun, man. I'm really, really thankful for Dale. I mean, he's done a lot for me. I mean, it's been pretty obvious that that's worked out. But I think that I'm thankful that he's really appreciated the work and effort that that I put in on my side to make this all happen. Right. I think he really sees that and appreciates that. And when I first started, that was kind of what he told me. He's like, hey, if you put in the work and you do the right things, you work hard, you show up on time, put in the effort, he's like, I'll try to make things happen for you. And that's very, that's, even in today's age, that's pretty hard to make happen all the time. So I think he stuck to his word pretty good.
Agreed. If you guys, last unrelated question to racing, well, we'll have a few more, I think, but regarding Dale Jr., at least, let's say both you guys are 28 years old at the same time. Who could drink more beer in one night and make it and survive? That's the kind of question. That's the kind of insight the Garage Guys family needs.
Man, I would say probably him. He's definitely, I don't know. He's smart. He can drink some beer, but you don't really notice it.
He's a Frank the Tank.
Yeah, I feel
Well,
like
that's noticeable though. Frank the Tank would be like. I feel like Frank the Tank is when you get a little too far.
Yeah, that might
that's
be.
why I slowed down. Yeah. Yeah, that was me on my end. I think it's a testament to what you talk about with you guys having kids. I have a 7-year-old son, so he's going on 8 this year, which is nuts. So I totally get that part of it. When you call you boys when you have kids, it's a little more straight laced, a little more scheduled by the calendar, how things have to flow out with the wife and everything else. So I feel that. But yeah, back in the day, I would have loved to have seen that, because I know that Dale seemed like an interesting guy music wise for me. Like, he liked some really off the wall music that I love, which like was My United States of Whatever was one of them. What kind of music were you into growing up?
Man, really all kinds. I guess I know that's a terrible answer, but
Big mix CD guy?
Yeah, I had my share. Obviously being from Tennessee, you hear and you're around a lot of country music, but yeah, I remember in school being a pretty big Blink 182 fan.
Okay.
Still can rock out to some Blink 182. And similar bands like that. That was maybe a stage in my life where I acquired the love for that kind of music. But I really feel like I've I think my high school, right? Like Lil Wayne, he was popping off.
Dude, this is crazy.
Okay, we're bonding now.
Right there, buddy. I can definitely recognize a lot of those songs.
All right, so the
Wayne
Carter
was
3
my
obviously
guy.
has got to be number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. We're on the same page. I love this.
I gotta say, and this is probably an age gap thing. Carter 3 is amazing. I was in high school between 2010 and 2013, and that's about when Carter 4 came out. I think 2011, 2010. I like Carter 4 a little bit more, but they're both amazing.
Yeah.
But dude, Wayne was like made my high school experience so fun. And the Blink 182, I went through that stage as well. I know Chase did. Like Blink is like my
Oh
shit.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was pretty good. Yeah. And
that's
now, and Josh, I don't know if you care about them anymore, but they just got back together and they're like touring. So I think that's so awesome. It makes me, brings me back a little bit.
Tom's
Yeah,
back
that's
too.
it'll be interesting. It's not gonna be the same though. It never
No,
is.
it probably won't.
Their voices. I think he pulled some up, and after you won in Vegas, he actually pulled up their new song when we were driving back to the hotel. So Dale was playing that for me. So yeah, their voices were definitely a little bit
It was
off,
okay.
but might be worth a trip to the to get a ticket to go to one of those concerts. I don't know, but I love to hear that. But yeah, so I guess from here, you talked about being a bank teller. I think we haven't done a simulation in a long time, Josh. And we're big simulation guy. You're a big simulation guy yourself. You like to drive race cars. Dale does that. Well, this is going to be a different kind of simulation. This is going to be a simulation of what it was like for Josh Berry to be a bank teller. So I want you right now to just close your eyes and put yourself back in a position to where you're at a bank. A lot of people might know how to, iRace or things, but there might not be a lot of people that know how to be a banker. And we're going to go through just a situation where Dale is going to be a customer and you're going to be the teller. And this is a situation where I'll kind of narrate us through it and I'll push us through this whole simulation, but we're going to be very insightful and informative for people that might want to become a bank teller so they know how to handle certain situations. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So you're at work, you just had a cup of coffee, you're feeling great. There's some Mariah Carey is on the radio very lightly in the background, you're counting the till. Dale walks in.
It can be Christmas time too, because as soon like November 1st, it played Christmas music for like 2 months straight. So you were by then you were absolutely just
I hear it right now. It's really annoying.
I mean,
Okay.
all of
Little drummer boy
in the background. We can
Yeah, well,
that.
I hear it right now. Sir, could I make a deposit, please?
Sure. Do you have your deposit slip?
Yeah, it's somewhere around here. Hold on a second. It's
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh God.
He's been oh no. Oh, Josh, I think we're in a robbery, Josh. This is a robbery.
Freeze.
Now, Josh,
Put your hands up. You too, mustache. Put them up. Put them up. Put them up.
Josh, here's the deal. You're all alone here. Your coworker just went to the bathroom. You're getting robbed, Josh.
I've been watching this place for a long time, Josh.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm saying take whatever the hell you want. It's not my money. Think of your family. Think of your family. There's cameras everywhere. They're gonna get you.
Damn.
I only got $28 anyway.
He's only got $28, man.
$28. All right, you know what? It is what it is. You have a very soothing voice, and I think that talked me out of it. But I'm glad this is over. I'm glad this is over. I appreciate you.
I pressed the blue button. Don't worry.
The button under the.
We did it. We got him. Josh. You did it. Congratulations. We stopped a bank robbery together today. It's all you, man. The cop got him. He's taking him out. It's all over. That was a great simulation.
All right. Yeah, that was a simulation, guys.
Yeah. Thankfully, that never happened.
Yeah. Well, now we know what it would be like if it did. That's exactly what it would be like.
Do you ever think about what you would do in that situation? Like, is that what you would do? What you just did? Like,
I mean, I know what I would do. I'd be like, "What do you want? Take it here. I don't care. Take the computer. I got some tissues over here, pens, notepads, lollipops."
Old boss is pissed.
Whatever.
He's like, "You're supposed to be a company man."
It's not worth it. It's not worth it at the end of the day.
Have it all.
The manager's freaking out. He's like, "Listen to this guy." Yeah.
Well,
it's a good thing you're not a bank teller
dude.
anymore. You're a race car driver now. Big different stories. I don't think anyone's coming to rob you in a race. That would be an amazing situation. Somebody try to rob a race car in the middle of a race.
Yeah,
no one ever thinks about that.
Got to get them in the pit stop, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to think about
that.
We're
gonna get you, Dale. You need to put that mask back on in the middle of a race at a pit stop and just be standing there, just holding the pit, trying to hold pit crew hostage.
I didn't do the best job cutting it up, but yeah. Thanks for being a good sport there. That has been a bank teller simulation with Josh.
I wasn't really sure how exactly you're going to do a bank simulation, but I wasn't expecting that.
Okay,
That's
what we
that
like to
means
hear.
that our simulations work. So we need to start patenting these and sell them to all banks and companies.
Like pure
That's what we're
training
gonna do.
right there. Unexpected training.
You
Disaster
love it.
avoidance.
Yes, that is training. Yeah, we try to teach the community, Josh. That's what we do. We do betting, driving simulations, and maybe some bank teller simulations too. But now it is time. I think it's time. It's time for some football bets, baby. You're the intro guy. I just wanted to shift us into this because we're running out of time.
Oh no, absolutely. I was ready. I was ready to transition. You know me, I'm always cooking up a good one. So welcome back to Wheelman Wagers, where we have Josh Berry. Today, Josh is going to pick 3 NFL playoff games for us. No one has went 3-0 yet. Our last candidate, Anthony Alfredo, had the opportunity to go 3-0 if he wouldn't have bet on the Jets when I told him to bet on the Dolphins. So that was a sad day for him. But now could be a good day for Josh Berry. Josh, you have the potential to go 3-0 and lead more than it'll be now 8 drivers on the Wheelman Wager board. Do you think you have what it takes to go 3-0, Josh?
Yeah, I think I can give it a good. I watch my fair share of football. I feel like wild card, super wild card weekend coming up. Been following pretty close. I feel decent about my odds for sure.
I love it.
Love
All
to
right, well,
hear
let's
it.
get wild. Dale, you want to kick us off with some games and some lines?
Yeah, let's start with a matchup that I picked as I think it's an intriguing matchup. These two teams played against each other earlier this season, played a great game. The Giants at the Vikings. Spread is 3 in favor of the Minnesota Vikings, the NFC North champions. Over under at 48.5 points. Vikings are minus 155 money line. The Giants are plus 135 money line. Josh, kick us off.
Man, this is a tough one. I feel like I kind of want to take the Giants, but Minnesota being at home, feel like they've had a pretty rough, maybe not last week, but rough couple weeks before that, especially in Lambeau. So I think they rebound at home. I think they cover the 3 points and the Vikings win.
All right, Vikings minus 3. Lock it in.
Boom. All right, let's go to the next game. Chargers and Jags. The money line, the Jags are plus 100 underdogs. Chargers minus 120. The spread is set at 1, and the over-under is 47.5. Which way are we leaning between these two electric-colored teams?
Oh, and as a Titans fan, are you a little chapped by this one?
I'm a little chapped over this one for sure. Man, I feel like this is a tough one as well. Chargers have been pretty good, maybe a few injuries. But the Jaguars are riding a pretty strong wave of momentum. I feel like Trevor Lawrence been playing really good. So again, Jacksonville at home, I'm going to take them.
Jags
Straight
money
up.
line plus 100. The dogs. We're taking the underdogs.
Yeah, I'm going Jacksonville.
Let's do
Okay.
it. We love a good dog.
I love plus bets. All right, Jags money line. Boom, locked in.
All right, and for the final game, Mr. Josh Berry, Cowboys at the Buccaneers. So this line has had some crazy movement, actually, from what I remember seeing the other day. Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites on the road at Tampa, the very, very talented NFC South, with the Buccaneers losing record, win the division, get a home game. Really messed up, but that's how it goes. 2.5-point favorites for the Cowboys. Over-unders at 45.5. Buccaneers are plus 120 money line. Cowboys are minus 140 money line. For the final pick, Josh, where do we lean there?
I'm a Tom Brady fan. I'll be honest. So this one's hard, right? I think, but Brady has never lost to the Cowboys, and I saw that this week. He's never lost to the Cowboys. I feel like this one could go either way, but man, I'm just gonna hope that the Buccaneers and Tom can pull it out a little bit. I think it's going to be really close, but I think the Buccaneers squeak away from this one and they win.
That's another dog chase. We got 2 dogs in this fight.
2 dogs. I love it. It's a dog day. All right, day of the dog. The Georgia Bulldogs. They just won a national championship. Dogs. So it's dogs weekend going forward. I'm very fond of that. I also saw that Tom has never had a losing record. until this year, but he did. But I think that that's the trick, right? Anytime the media comes after Tom like that, he's going to be like, hey, I'm immortal. And then he's going to just like, pretty much just destroy you in your whole life. Kind of like he did the NFC South with me and my Saints and him and his Panthers.
Yeah, to Mike Evans. Yeah, over and over again.
Oh,
That's what he
man,
needs
yeah.
this weekend. About 3 of those.
Yeah, I had an
Yeah.
8-leg parlay the other day, and I had Fournette instead of Mike Evans, and it was the only thing that didn't hit, and I was going to win a lot of money, and it made me really sad because he scored like 2 touchdowns in that one game.
Oh, I think he had 3. I think he had like 9 for 2. It was
Thanks
a
for rubbing that in,
disgusting
Dale.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. But hey, Josh,
I actually went to the game, their prior game in Charlotte this year when they played. My wife got tickets for my birthday, and it was pretty much like the worst football game I've ever.
Yeah, it wasn't like 7 to. It was like 10 to nothing. We won. We won that game. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Were you a pirate? Were you dressed up like a pirate or a panther?
No, I was laying low. I did have my Brady jersey on. I was laying low. It's actually funny though, because I was sitting in like the nosebleeds, right, in one of the end zones, and I'm sitting there. We're watching the game, get up and get down, and finally, so this was after Homestead. So this was like a week after Vegas, and I always, I was talking crap to my wife. I'm like, hopefully I don't get noticed out here, right? Like messing with her. And she's like, shut the hell up. That ain't gonna happen. And so I'm sitting there. We're in the, upper deck. Panthers just beating the hell out of the Buccaneers. I got my Buccaneers jersey on and my beer, sitting there taking this.
It's a tough time.
And the guy next to me looks at me and he's like, so you gonna win Phoenix? And I'm like,
at least he was nonchalant about it.
Yeah, it took him to like the third quarter. He probably
waited. He
He's
waited
looking
32
at me,
hours.
I probably went to the
as soon
bathroom.
as you
He
sat
pulled up
down.
I went to the bathroom. He probably pulled up the Instagram or something, trying to make sure
it was you. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny.
That is hilarious.
That's I feel like that is a super normal thing. Like there is a very few list of people that I would probably do that same thing to in like life, like as far as culture goes in general. Like Jim Carrey is one of them. But like, yeah, the waiting till the third quarter, that's the beauty of it, right? Like he was thinking, he was plotting on it.
He held out.
How am I going to do this?
Hey, real quick, Josh, I want to get your thoughts on a couple things. Breaking news, actually. Aside from, I do want to get your thoughts on the purchase of the car store. That hits home for you, of course. But the breaking news, back-to-back days, actually. Dale Jr. will be racing the Bristol Night Race for his annual race. Thoughts on both of those big breaking stories?
Yeah, that's cool. Obviously Dale loves the short track racing. These both kind of tie together, and I know that the partnership with Unilever, they like having their race in kind of the southeast region. So Bristol makes sense. It kind of surprised me though. I know that Dale's going to run twice next year, but I just didn't really I didn't really see him wanting to go to Bristol, but obviously Bristol's a great short track, so I know that'll be fun. And the night race at Bristol, man, nothing beats it for sure. So I know that'll be cool.
To add to that, Parker Kleggerman said he's going to win that race. How do you feel about that?
He did. He said he was.
He already called his shot this early.
Yeah. Well, he said, okay, so he said it could be trucks or Xfinity. He said either or he's going to win one of them.
He's going to win at Bristol.
He could win both. Yeah.
So technically he did say he was going to win the Xfinity race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah. Bristol's not been a great place for me. So maybe if I was going to call my shot, I wouldn't exactly. I don't know if I'd take Bristol. I love Bristol. It's definitely fun, but it hasn't been a great racetrack for me. So I guess I'll let him have that one. But man,
you'll probably be battling for a lead now and potentially win for saying it that humbly. So
that is true. Yeah, I feel like in my career, whenever like the more confident I got, like every time you get like super confident like that, you're like, I'm gonna win this race. Like you just get punched right in the mouth, and so you're just better off to me. Yeah, like I always just kind of play it off. I'm like a sneaky guy, right? Like I don't want them to know I'm coming.
I don't know. We'll give you pit morale. Love that. Yeah, we'll find a way to keep the morale up throughout the race. I got a lot of. I'm a NASCAR wizard, so I know a lot of spells for your brain you can use to stay on track out there. So.
Yeah. But now on the car store deal, man, that was super cool. Like I said, that's been going on for a little while. think it really proves, really just shows kind of the rejuvenation and the importance that, the short track racing has had. CarStar's obviously been super, super successful and what they've built and the brand that they've built. I think Dale and Kevin, Jeff, Justin Marks, I think that really what that's all about is just trying to, build it, but just keep it going strong, right? Like just try to help that evolve. Hopefully, I know that some of their plans are one plan is they're not trying to change a lot of they're not coming in, they're not going to be making all these drastic changes to what that series is. Really they just want to hopefully bring in some more sponsorship, bring in some and renegotiate or however getting this race broadcast, whether that's on TV or the internet or whatever, to kind of help grow that. And I think it's exciting. It's a cool deal to have those names a part of it. I think it'll be real positive for all short track racing and keeping eyes on that level for sure.
That's a hell of an owners group too. Like what a combo of guys to buy and elevate that series. I love it.
Couldn't be any better. It's a racing renaissance, man. That's what we say. We're here for it all decade long. It's on the uphill. All racing. If it's got wheels and it goes fast, we're about it.
Did y'all go to the Wilkesboro race?
No, but I am so excited for the All-Star race. We'll be.
Yeah.
We wanted to be there. We live in like South Mississippi and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like, so that's
we're so far.
So I mean, like, if you know a guy that's got a plane that wants to fly us up next time, holla at your boy. But
yeah, that was fan. That was an unbelievable experience. I hope that these races there next year, if they're anywhere close to exciting and just. I mean, everything apart about that weekend was so spectacular. I hope that those races can get close to that. It'll be really awesome.
It looked so awesome on every social media thing I saw, keeping up with updates of the race. Just the aesthetic behind it, man. It just brings back what Chase likes to say, like the Winston Cup kind of style, and just big in general for short track racing. That series was the first to be out there. And of course, like the number 3 Sun Drop car. I mean, come on, man. Like
so
unbelievable.
It's a great car.
It was just a crazy experience. Like I said, it was amazing for sure.
Well, I'm hoping to be there. I hope they continue I think the revival should be a thing that they do like every year. Like I just feel like that should stick. So, and I hope it does. I'm not really sure if it will, but I had a good buddy of mine that lives up in that area that got to attend it, and he about the guy Louis, he calls him North Wilkesboro Louis. It's this man that like wears a Budweiser tie, and he's shirtless. He's an old man, white hair, and he just will scream randomly. Yeah. Like they call him North Wilkesboro Louis, I think is his name. I'll have to send you a link to it. It's exciting. So I hope to meet him when we go for the All-Star race, but I do hope to be there for more races, not just the NASCAR Cup Series and stuff. So I love that whole aesthetic. Like he was saying, it's just great. So we're definitely going to be more a part of it. And as you continue to be a part of other races inside and outside of NASCAR, we can't wait to stay posted on that either. You're kind of like you've definitely like come in the circle now as like one of the guys we love to, bet on. You don't talk about that. We talk about that. But yeah, you're one of our guys, dude. Like, so it's like, I'm big on the Josh Berry train. I was pissed off when Dr. Pepper didn't send you the berry flavored, Dr. because your last name was Berry. So like,
hey, look,
I'm here for you, man.
This is
fight for you.
This right here, Wall of Dale. This is how I characterize everybody based upon betting performance. And you were on the good side, like all year long. Because I picked you at Dover too. I forgot to say that earlier, but
oh hell yeah,
you were on the good side of it. We couldn't be more happy to watch you win races in 2022 and 2023 as well, man. It's gonna be fun.
You're just always smiling on the Wall of Dale up there, right?
Yeah,
right
I got your
by
picture somewhere.
BJ. Yeah, that's the guy there. But no, man, it's gonna be a great year. I can't wait to see what transpires for you, and we'll definitely be seeing you out there on the track, and hopefully get to kind of kick it and have a good time and shoot the shit here and there. But other than that, dude, thanks so much again for being on the show. We hope you enjoyed it. We're ready to see if you can go 3-0 this weekend, so we'll have that out for everybody. And And again, thank you guys for just listening and watching. Where can everybody follow you at, Josh?
Instagram and Twitter are really what I use most. I think they're both at Josh Berry. So that's what I use the most. But yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was a great time. And thankfully we didn't have to, yeah, the banking simulation, thankfully that never happened. It was just a simulation.
That's right. He got arrested. Yeah, he learned his lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully
it all worked out.
They're listening and watching, learn their lesson too. So yeah, we know what to do now in that situation. Yeah. I think that'd be a good note to end it on.
Josh.
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much again. You guys have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.